Hey everyone, this is Lisa from TRW, and in this video I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on how to add a border around your objects. Now this is useful, one, because the border can kind of help with your shapes define it a little bit more, and also when you have something like this, when you have this little border around the circle, it just adds a little extra element, makes it look a little bit fancy if I do say so myself. So I'm going to show you two different ways to make a border. One way is going to help define your shape to make it easier to see, and the other one is to add a little fancy element to it. Alright, so I am here in Silhouette Studio. Now, what I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a border off of this unicorn. I just used this unicorn in another video. If you want to check it out, I have a rhinestone border that I put around here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little circle border around this, just to kind of add that extra stroke in there. And I'm also going to show it to you with just a circle. I'll basically replicate this design for you. So the way that this border works is when you have that little outline around it, what you're really doing is you're creating two offsets, or you're creating two lines off of it, and then those two lines work together to make one shape. So if we go right here and we go to our offset panel, it's going to be on the right toolbar. It looks like a star with a little line around it. We'll go to our offset panel and we'll click offset. So we are determining how far away from our object our line will be. So I don't want the line to be too far away, so I'm going to type 0.08 and then hit enter. So hitting enter on your keyboard lets you get a preview of how far away it's going to be. So I always like to do that. So I like that different distance, so let's go ahead and hit apply. And so my offset is selected right now because that's the last thing I made. And now you can see I filled it in and we have a little border going on right here. So we've determined how far away the line's going to be. So now we need to create one more offset off of this line to determine how thick the ring or the offset is going to be. So let's go ahead and choose offset again. And let's type in, I always like to start with 0.08 and see how I feel. So let's go ahead and do 0.08, hit apply. And so let me fill these in so you can see what's going on. So this blue essentially is what my line is going to be. That pink is going to turn into space. So now we're going to get into what's called compound paths. Right now we have our design, and then we have a layer underneath it, which is the pink, and then we have a layer underneath it, which is the blue. It's like we have a pancake on top of a plate, on top of a charger plate, if you like place settings for your table. So what we're going to do is we're going to take both of these. I'm going to use my mouse, grab this outside line, then grab this next line. So you can see I have two gray boxes here. That means I have two objects selected. And now I'm just going to right click, make compound path. Now check that out. So now I have this little ring around my unicorn. Let's color that in black. So now we have this little cute little outline going on here. So that's the first example. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to use that practically with that circle. So let's go ahead and type out pots. I hit Control A on my keyboard to select all my text in there. And the font that I used on this sign I think is called Vanessa Handscript. All right, so here's my pots design. Color that black. And so we're all set there. Now I'm using a script font, so I want to select it and weld it. So we have that all set. And now I'm going to right click and make that a compound path. So what I just did is I welded, so I got rid of the overlapping lines. That way when you cut script fonts, you don't have that weird gap where the two lines overlap. And then I made a compound path, which means I told the software, hey, this is all one object, treat it as one. So now we're ready to do our circle. So let's draw our circle. So I have my ellipse tool. I'm going to hold down shift, and this creates a perfect circle. So we have that all set. And now we're going to set it up there. So in this design, my text goes right to the edge, so it looks like there's a little bit of space. So I'm going to take my text right here, stretch it out to that part, and stretch it out here. Just a tiny bit, just to give it a little something so it kind of overlaps. Now before I do anything else, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the line outside of this one. So let's go over here, and I'm going to fill this in so you can see it. So totally fine with what we're doing. So now we're going to repeat the same process. Let's do an offset. Let's do offset. Let's do 0.06. So you can see it's kind of close. Actually, and I'll make it a little bit bigger, 0.08. So we have our line like that. Let's hit apply. And now let's do offset again. I'm going to type in the same distance, 0.08, hit apply. So now we have this set right here. So now I'm going to grab these two, 1, 2, right click, make compound path, and now you can see that we have that little ring there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell Silhouette that I want this outside line to be part of my circle. So we're going to do the same thing we just did with compound path. Let's select both of these, right click, make compound path. So now we have our little ring and circle. Now the last thing we need to do is we just need to knock out the text from my circle. So we're going to right click, send to back. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing the subtract function. What this does is it takes our text and cuts it out of that circle. So the way subtract works is it takes the top shape and subtracts it from the bottom shape. So that's why the circle is on bottom, because we want the text to be subtracted from the circle. Let's select both our text and our circle. We're going to go to our modify panel, which is right above the offset panel, and let's click subtract. So it might process depending on how slow your computer may be. Now we have this all set, but I want to point out one thing is we have multiple little gray boxes going on here. Now whenever you do a subtract, it breaks apart your shape. It basically will release the compound path. It's kind of the same concept. If you cut a piece of paper in half, you have two pieces of paper, not one in the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all this, and while it's still selected, right click, make compound path. So now I have this all set together, and I am all set with this design. So that is a quick tutorial on how to create a little border around your shape and text. This is something that can just add a little bit something to what you're working with, give it a little bit of a definition, and I think for like circle things like this, these are quick and easy to do. These are really easy to incorporate in your store if you're selling items, and they don't take long at all. So if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you click that subscribe button so you don't miss any more videos, and comment below. Let us know what you think and what other videos you'd like to see.